안녕하세요, Nifties. Nitori Nicole 어서 오세요. I am Nicole입니다, and we are a crafting community. So grab your work in progress, also known as a whip, and let's get started on our 10-minute crafting break. Today I'm working on my diamond painting, and I have I'm gonna work on this little section right here. Should probably peel it back. This little bunch right here, and it's a bunch of these, this slash design. I am drinking water out of my ear cup right here. Little fresh water. Because I brought a dessert today. I was so fortunate because I was able to have lunch with some girlfriends today, and in my new place, there is, I need to cut this off on my sleeve. How distracting. In my new place, we have little fire pits, and so I have a whole little s'mores set up. So I don't know if you can tell, but I hem my own. I took in the sleeves for my dress, and maybe I didn't trim it up like I should have. Let me cut some more. Okay, I think that's better. At any rate, no, I just put all the pieces of my diamond art. So these fun and games over here at Nitori Nicole. Here we go. Okay, and so I did have a really nice time, and we have we have a fire pit, and so we made s'mores when we got back from lunch, which was lovely. But my friend, she had to go, and I'm like the slowest marshmallow roaster because I have to have my marshmallow just the way I want it, and I don't want any of it to burn. I like it all brown and none of it burnt. Anyway, but she told me of this hack that they use at her house where they put the s'more in the toaster oven. So I did get one, and then she had to go, and then and it was like we were in like a weird part of the complex, and so I was pretty sure she wasn't going to find her way out, so I walked her out. But anyway, long story short, or short story long, I made a little s'more in the toaster oven. So you put the graham cracker in, and you put the marshmallow on top, and then, oh, the chocolate is still melty. Okay, let me see if I like this. Mm. Mmm. 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 Okay, so this is really good because the graham cracker gets super crispy. I don't know if you can hear that. It's so crispy. And so it gives like a different texture. And then the marshmallow is still, it's been sitting a little bit because I wanted to get out my diamond painting, but chocolate is still warm, but the marshmallow, I let it get just the color I like, but not burnt. Mmm. Oh, that's really good. So, I guess if you don't have a fire pit, you can make s'mores in the toaster oven. That's surprisingly good. I literally didn't think it was going to taste that good. I didn't want to go all the way to the fire pit again. And then I was trying to put away the stuff, and I thought, you know what, I wish I had another one. And so I didn't want a whole one, but I did do clearly a half. And that's a great way to do it. I'm super excited because now I'm going to use that in the future. Okay. Oh, here's a little piece of a little string for my dress. So the ladies I went out to lunch with, are probably one of the smartest groups of ladies I know. I only went out with 2 of them, but they're like so smart. I think they're both gifted, you know, as in gifted and talented education. And they're both educators at my elementary school, the elementary school I teach at, and they're both phenomenal. Just 2 of the best teachers on campus, and I'm so lucky to know them. But they were very excited, so I think they might have, you know, followed my channel. I think that I don't know. I've been kind of keeping my real life separate from my channel because I am kind of a private person, even though it seems like I'm out here sharing all the secrets. I am a little bit of a private person. And so, but now I am becoming more public, and that's probably good for me. This is such a huge piece, but remember that it's going to be the centerpiece of my physical space. Like as soon as you walk in, you're going to see it. Okay, I need some teas. Looks like I just need 2 teas. What is that? So I'm just going to grab 2. Oh, I could use these tweezers. But I like that we're all like, one of them has a son and a daughter, and then the other one has a son, and then of course I have my son. So I like that we are, you know, that we have someone to talk about like mommy life with. Oh no, which one is it? Oh, I see it. Okay, I guess that's why you don't put the same color in the same tray. There's one more else over here. I'm not sure why I thought this was easier than the little dot thingy. Maybe just because there was only these 2. Okay. In the US, it's going to be tax day. You know what? I wonder how people in other countries do taxes. That's so interesting to me. So chime in the comments today. Tell me like the process for doing taxes in your country, because I feel like it could be streamlined here in the US. But I'll just talk about personal taxes because businesses have different rules. But here in the US, by January 30th, your employer has to give you something called a W-2 form, and that just tells you everything that you made in the past year. And like a long time ago, I'm sure that those W-2 forms were handwritten, you know, and so it probably was more arduous. But now all of the forms are computerized, and they probably have some kind of like computer system that makes them. I don't know, because I'm not yet a business owner, so I don't know. But I'm pretty sure that like Quicken or whatever, or QuickBooks or whatever people are using to do like their accounting software, I'm pretty sure it does the taxes too. At any rate, and then so any kind of income you have, so maybe if you have a savings account at a bank that earns a little bit of interest, you're supposed to report that too. And then it all goes into how much you make. And how much you make is called your gross income. And then based on that, you're supposed to pay a certain amount of taxes. And it's kind of, well, it is, part of it is like a percentage of how much you make. You know, supposedly people who don't make, you know, enough, like, you know, under the median or whatever, then they're supposed to be taxed like very little. And if you're making like at the bottom, let's say if you're on welfare or something, which is something like funded by the state, then you actually don't pay any taxes at all because you don't make enough money. At any rate, but the problem with this system is that people like billionaires, there are loopholes in the system, and so people like, well, I won't name names, but you know, the guy who owns Amazon, or the guy who is the owner of, you know, this app that you're watching the video on or whatever, they all have ways to pay less than their percentage of the taxes. And so that's why a lot of people in the government are running on the fact that they will just tax the rich. They call them the rich, right? Tax the rich at the way level that they're supposed to be taxed. So instead of you allowing them to have their little tax breaks. Anyway, that's not my, you know, what I'm here to talk about. So I'm not going to address all of that. But should I go for the T's? Okay, so here I was having a dilemma. Should I go this way and fill in the T's and the slashes, or should I keep going across? Quite a dilemma. I think I'm gonna do the T's, so I need a new tray. Just a little tray. Anyway, so everything you earn, whether it's from like interest from your bank account, or let's say you play the stock market, or I don't know, I think some people like trade in cryptocurrency or something, and they're making money. However you make money, it's called income, and you're supposed to pay your percentage. But from your percentage, they give you a discount called a deduction. Actually, it's called a credit, but a deduction. Let's start with deductions first. And deductions are things that they say, hey, those are not, like, you don't have to pay those as part of your income. You get a break. And it used to be that, I mean, it still is, but it used to be that if you like gave to charity, that you could get a deduction for that. Or if you had medical expenses, you could deduct those. And you can still deduct those things, but the formula that they use now is so, like, it costs so much. Like, you have to give so much of those deductions to make it count, to deduct against your income, that it is better to take the standard deduction. And the standard deduction is just an amount that the president usually sets. And in this case, our current president did just raise the standard deduction. And that's the amount of money that you get to deduct from your income based on like each individual person. And then also if that person is an adult or a child. So I get 2 deductions, one for myself and one for my son, because I pay all of the expenses for my son. And then after that, they take a percentage of whatever's left. So your income minus your deductions. And then they take a percentage of that, and that's how much tax you have to pay. But you've already paid some taxes, because every month in your paycheck, they take a little bit of money out and they kind of like save it for you. And that money is saved for the taxes that you're going to have to pay. And sometimes they take out too much money, and sometimes they take out too little. And if they take out too much, then you get a refund. That's why it's called a refund, because it was your money and they're refunding it to you. But if you have to pay money because you didn't take out enough money, then you have to make a payment and pay more of your taxes. And then last but not least, after you figure out your taxable amount of money, there's something called credits. And credits are reduce the amount of taxes you pay. And the credits, for instance, there's something called the child tax credit, which in this year was like $2,000 or something. And I'm not going to say supposedly. It was increased this year as well. I think last year it was 2,000 and this year it's 2,200. So that is good. And then you can make, but you only get a child tax credit if you make under a certain amount of money. And for me, I am considered the head of the household because I'm a solo mom. And so if you make under $200,000, you can get the full amount of the child tax credit. So then that was that. And after that, you figure out if you still have to pay money or if you get any money back. Oh, it looks so cute. Okay, I'm going to line these up. Any rate, and then so you have until, so all of the forms that tell you how much you have to pay and all of your sources of income have to give you forms by January 30th. So then really you have from January 30th to tax day, and tax day is April 15th unless it's on a weekend or a holiday. And in that case, they give you like one more day or whatever. But it's really April 15th. And then so by April 15th, you've got to like type in all of that information. You used to write it down. You have to write in all the information or send in your tax return. And every year it's stressful. It's stressful. And then like in my mind, it's like, how come it's not automated? Like all those W-2 forms, not all of them, but the vast majority of them are, from your main job, they are transmitted automatically to the IRS. So if the IRS already knows that, then that's called the Internal Revenue Service, which is what does the taxes. So if the IRS already knows like the vast majority of your income, why aren't they just like calculating the tax for you and sending it out? Okay, that's my question. So I just wonder, does anyone have any like automatic taxes? Are any countries automatically taxing people? Because that seems like an easier process now that we have, automation. Anyway, Nifties, I probably did not make you relax today. It was all in my little tax mind. But I hope you did learn a little bit about our tax system. And if you ever have quick questions, you can leave them in the comments. Of course, I'm not a tax professional, so I'm not giving actual tax advice. At any rate, Nifties, maybe my diamond painting brought you calm. I'm hoping. And I'm hoping that you will be back tomorrow for another 10-minute crafting break, and that you will like, share, follow, all of the things. And we will see you tomorrow, and maybe you can make some graham cracker toaster oven s'mores. Like I said, please leave in the comments because I'm so fascinated about your tax system. And I will see you tomorrow. 안녕히 계세요.